Good morning. Let me see how many of you are here today. Good morning, Nidhi. How are you? So, I'm absolutely fine, Nidhi. I'm absolutely fine. I hope you had seen the yesterday's WAT video because it is a continuation of that class. Good morning, Shivam. Good morning, Priyanka. I hope you've seen yesterday's video. I came 1 minute before time so that I know everything looks good with the video and audio. Good morning, Avantika. I see a lot of new names. I don't usually see your names in the Hindu editorial discussion. I usually don't see you there. All right. Okay. So, if you've seen yesterday's video, you would know about exactly what is WAT, what is the weightage for it, how much time should we have for it, how long should an essay be, and what are going to be the types of questions that come. What were the previous year questions? We discussed that as well. We also discussed about certain other do's and don'ts to be done while we write a WAT session. Now, here in today's session, which is the last session in the series for WAT, you did not get your answer. What's your question, Ravindra? What is your question, Bache? Ask me your question again. By the time, ma'am, are you not doing the tutorial discussion class today? No, I am not, Amara. I'm not doing it today. That happens only from Monday to Friday. So this Saturday, we do not have a Hindu editorial discussion. We'll not have it tomorrow as well. We'll have it on Monday. Okay. So by the time Ravindra asks me his question, I could possibly explain what this class is about. So in the second part of the WAT discussion, I'm going to tell you exactly how are you supposed to write a WAT. I will show you a sample WAT and I'm going to share some important topics that you need to prepare on to be ready for the WAT that's going to happen soon. Okay, so let's start with it. Ravindra hasn't given me his question yet. Nonetheless, hi Shampati, how are you? I don't know. What's your name? Insha? No, sorry. This is for 2023. Okay, you can do it for 2023 as well if you want to sit for SLAT. Okay. Good morning, Prince. All right. So let's start off with our agenda. Now, every passage, every essay that you write for WAT, it is predominantly divided into three sections: introduction, body, and conclusion. Introduction should have ideally one paragraph. Conclusion should also ideally have one paragraph. Now, your body may have one or at times two paragraphs as well. Do not increase, since you have only half an hour, I don't think you should be writing more than 4 paragraphs. 3 to 4 paragraphs is absolutely the best way of writing a WAT. Okay, so usually you can write 2 paragraphs in body, one should also suffice. If you think it's becoming too long, you can divide it into 2 paragraphs. Now let's start with discussing what is going to be the introduction. Now, for example, if I want to write about COVID and the vaccinations, if I want to write about this, how do I start writing? I start with the beginning paragraph. I talk about introducing COVID, when did it start in our country? Then I start introducing about vaccinations. I talk about COVID started last year. It created a lot of havoc. And since there was no medication for it, the only solution we found was vaccination. India took a bit of time to create their own vaccination. So they imported some vaccination, they bought some IPR. Okay, IPR आपको पता होगा, what is intellectual property rights? So अगर आपको vaccination produce करनी है, for example Pfizer Indian vaccination नहीं है, and if you want to produce that vaccination in India, you need to have a certification, permission from the owner of the IPR holder, intellectual property right holder. So you can talk about this. And you talk about how we took some time to start vaccinating people in our country. Okay, this is the introduction about COVID and vaccination. Now, the body will be the most important part. Introduction will have only crisp, light sentences. Always remember, when you write down the introduction, don't write a lot of things. Write 3 sentences, 4 sentences at max. 5 at max, not more than that. The author should get an overview of what you are about to write. And the introduction should be written in a manner that it is very catchy to the reader. The reader wants to read ahead. He wants to see, aap aage kya likh rahe ho? He wants to know what are you actually writing ahead. Now, that does not mean you give a very, very strong opinion here. Certainly not. Opinions are going to be coming under the part body. So, always under introduction, write it crisp, write it concise, and write it clear. In 4 or 5 lines, what is your paragraph about? What is your passage about? Then you come to body. Your body includes your opinions, your examples. Both of it are going to be a part of your body. What you think, how you take things. Now, since vaccination and COVID, this kind of a topic will usually not ask you for your opinion. It will ask you to discuss something. We had done this in previous class. It will ask you to discuss something. Everyone, okay, so there are a lot of questions. Ravindra, I did not get your question yet. Ma'am, this type of topic they asked in, what is the type of topic they ask in WAT? Nidhi, I don't think you've seen my yesterday's video. Please watch my video. You will know exactly what kind of topics have come and what kind of topics may come. I'm going to share it towards the end of the class. Okay? It should be conspicuous. Yes. It should be eye-catchy. Yes, Prince. Absolutely. It should be eye-catchy. But remember, rather than writing a lot, when you talk about introduction, rather than writing a lot of, quotations and difficult words, as I say, write it crisp and write it concise. It should be catchy in a plain language maybe, but it should be meaningful. The author needs to know what is my whole essay about. Okay? Now, I was talking about body. So the body, if the author is asking for your opinion in the question, give your opinions. But if there's a topic like COVID and vaccination, opinions are not needed. And they're not needed. You should not also be giving opinions. Oh my God, the government did a bad job. The government did not vaccinate people. That is exactly why the second wave happened. Should I be writing something like that? No, absolutely not. Possibly the reader is a pro-government member and he gets offended with what you write. Possibly he thinks the government did the best the government could. You should not be writing something as strongly opinionated as this. Opinions can be asked in articles like euthanasia. Okay, their opinions matter. But even if you write opinion, never ever use strong words. Remember that. I have been repeating that since yesterday's class. Now, let's come to conclusion. What do we write in a conclusion? I'll talk more in detail about the body because it is the most important part. But when you talk about conclusion, you just have to remember one thing. It is a summary of what we have written. But this, remember, should not be a repetition of what you have already written. अपनी ही बात को घुमा के लिखना is not a good way to write a conclusion. Never ever repeat exactly what you have written. More data has to be added. It should not be a repetition. More data has to be added to a conclusion to make it more meaningful. If I'm merely repeating, the author will not even read my conclusion. A conclusion will be an extension of the idea mentioned in the body, but in a tone that, closes the topic. All right. So to close the topic, I'm going to write a summary, but it needs to have additional information. Your examples, your opinions, body's part. But Always remember, conclusion should never be a repetition or a redundancy of what you have already written. Now, I'll show you an example where you'll exactly understand how conclusion can be an extension. But for now, I hope you are clear how to make a structure of a passage that you're writing. This is a standard structure that I think you should always follow. I said that yesterday as well. I'll repeat this for you. You can always start with a conclusion to make it very, very catchy. But 90% of the times it doesn't work in our favor because we haven't become writers yet. So let's not take that risk. Let's start with introduction, then body, and then conclusion. Let's stick to this methodology. Now, let's talk in detail about each one of them. Introduction, body. I've already discussed a couple of things. I'll add more of it. Now, when I write an introduction, always try to answer this question. This is the most important way of analyzing how an effective introduction can be written. For an introduction to be very, very effective, understand, if I read the introduction and if I answer myself, why should I be reading this passage? The introduction should be an answer to this question. मैं ये passage क्यों पढ़ूं? मैं ये passage इसलिए पढ़ूं because I want to know about COVID and vaccinations and the condition of vaccinations in my country. This is why I will read the passage. So your introduction should always be an answer to this question. Always. The author will think, okay, why should I read this passage? The answer should be hidden in the introduction. You talk about this. Bookmark this, everyone. Every time you're practicing, remember answering this question. Will the author know enough about what am I going to talk about in the passage? If he knows enough, ऐसा ही होता है. देखो, if you read the editorial every day, good morning everyone who have joined me late. Ma'am, oh, okay. So, all right, now back to it. Whenever you read the editorial, usually there are 2 to 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is merely an introduction. If you've been coming to my daily Hindu editorial class, you would know 100% of the times the first paragraph is a neutral paragraph. It will never have author's opinion. So the tone of that paragraph will always be either informative or descriptive. That is exactly what you have to follow in introduction also. You write a descriptive and informative paragraph, a short paragraph telling exactly about what you're going to talk about. And the next paragraphs will follow about what are your opinions, how do you look at the things. And then in the end, you conclude it. So introduction is all the 3 paragraphs are very important, bache. There are merely 3 paragraphs. All the 3 paragraphs are very, very important. Introduction, when we used to write that in school, we used to think introduction is the useless part. It is not. It will give the reader a window of how you think about things. Okay. So always answer this. Why should I read this? Your introduction should always be able to answer this question. If it is able to answer this question, your intro is good to go. Second, you can start with an anecdote. What is an anecdote? Who will tell me what is an anecdote? Let me see how many of you know this. By the time you tell me what is an anecdote, let me look at your questions. Okay. All right. By the time you guys tell me what is an anecdote, I have approximately 30 people watching this session and I don't have ample of likes for this session. So if you're actually liking it, you have to like this and you have to share this video with all the SLAT aspirants you know. You have to share this video with all of them. That is going to be my Guru Dakshina. If you don't know what my Guru Dakshina is, I always ask for Guru Dakshina from you. Your Guru Dakshina is you like my session and you share my session. That gives me some appreciation. Okay. It's a short story. Yes. An anecdote is a short story about events. So you can just make up an imaginary story and write it. It's a very good way of starting with an introduction. Okay. So write a short story if you like. 1 line, 2 line, 3 lines. Write a short story. If you're unable to frame a story of your own, do not use anecdotes. But to make an introduction effective, anecdotes can be a very good way of introducing a topic. Okay. Is there less competition in the SLAT examination? No, bache, I don't think so, Vanisha, because everybody who fills CLATS form, at least 90% of the people also fill ALAT and SLATs and other examinations form. So I don't think there is less competition. Okay. So you can always start writing with anecdotes. Keep the paragraph short always. As I've been telling you, 5 lines is the maximum. Maximum things are to be written in the body. Never in the intro paragraph. Never in the conclusion. Don't leave things for conclusion. Your opinions are going to be they're going to matter only and only in the body. So keep this paragraph short and crisp, as I repetitively say, and concise. Now, whatever you promise in the opening, this line is very, very important. As I had said in my last class, give 1 minute to decide what are the things you're going to write and how are you going to organize them. In that 1 minute, remember, whatever I write in my intro, whatever I promise to discuss in the body should be discussed in the body. आपने सोच बहुत लिया, you've thought of a lot of things, but if you're unable to recreate that in the body, it will upset the reader. It will be a waste of time for the reader. He would think, oh my God, you haven't written anything. कहानी तो आपने इतनी बड़ी बना दी, but you have not spoken about anything. So remember, whatever you promise in the intro has to be delivered in the body. Make sure you deliver that in the post itself. Always. So if I talk about how vaccination wasn't enough in our country, I have to back it up with data in the body. Why was it not enough? If you're saying it was not enough, you tell why was it not enough. Okay? You give them a data. Rather than saying vaccination sufficient nahi thi, kyun sufficient nahi thi? What was the harm? Okay, you talk about that. So it's okay to say vaccinations were not enough, but remember, you have to address that issue in the body. I hope you understand what all are going to be a part of our introduction. Now I'm going to move on to the body. Okay, so our body includes our opinion, our counterpoint, and our evidence. Our evidence mean our examples. Okay, so what is my point of view? My point of view is, if I write an article about COVID and vaccinations, my point is more and more number of people should be vaccinated before anything happens, because COVID is not going anywhere. Delta variant is increasing completely. Delta plus variant has been found in so many people. This might become a pandemic. To avoid, this might become a third wave of the pandemic. To avoid the third wave from being successful, maximum number of people should be vaccinated in a large amount every day. I can give an example of how approximately 86 lakh people were vaccinated on a Monday, but the number drastically fell down. Today, if you look at the number of people who are being vaccinated, it's very, very less. If this is going to be the pace, we might take, so there is a study that I have read about, and I can quote the study, that the study says, even if we vaccinate approximately this number of people, we might take approximately 2 years to vaccinate our complete population. Can I wait for 2 more years for this pandemic to end? Possibly not. This will be included. All this will be included in the body. My opinion, maximum people should be vaccinated. This is my point. My counterpoint, if they are not vaccinated, the third wave is not far off. This is my counterpoint. I'm supporting my point with evidence. That is, if I do not vaccinate people, I might take 2 to 3 years to vaccinate my entire population. I back it up with data of a survey that told me this. Okay, so evidence and point and counterpoint all are going to be a part of your body. I hope you understand this example, everyone, how I wrote a body here. Okay, all right, yes, yes, yes. Very good. Yes, reasoning with elucidation, Prince, absolutely correct. Is the exactly what a body will take. Yes, Hanshri, you remember it. And that is, you know what, if you've been reading the editorial every day, this will certainly benefit you. You will know exactly what data to quote. You will know examples. Your opinions are formed through editorials. Okay, so that is why a lot of people have been arguing, मैम हिंदू क्यों पढ़ते हैं, हिंदू तो एंटी सेंटर न्यूज़पेपर है, वो हमारा ओपिनियन फ्रेम करता है. Let's not get into the political discussion of it. Okay, so I hope you understand the body. Now let's move on to the conclusion. In conclusion, if you want it to be effective, try avoiding these words. Of course, when the author reads, this is a very boring way of writing. You can always use them, but it's a very boring way. Everybody writes like that. Why is your passage interesting? The author obviously knows if it's a third or the fourth paragraph, it has to be a conclusion. The author knows that. You don't have to make these words redundant. Avoid writing these words. You can always use them, but to make it more effective, don't write in so to summarize this in conclusion. Now, can you guys tell me, if I write a conclusion to a passage of COVID and the vaccinations that are not enough, if I write a passage on that, what will be the conclusion that I write? What can be one line that I write in the conclusion? What will be the one line that I elucidate in the conclusion? I want answers from you in the chat box. मैम हिंदू एनालिसिस आज नहीं होगा, ओपी कमांडो आज नहीं होगा. Hindu analysis will happen on Monday now. Everyone, I want answers from you. Okay, answers from you. What should I be writing in the last paragraph of the article we were discussing about the COVID and the less number of vaccinations that we have? How do I conclude it? I'll wait for 1 minute and look at your answers now. Okay. Solution of COVID-19. Prince says solution. I have approximately 31 people. You have to tell me. Suggestions? Yes. Okay. How do I increase the number of vaccination? Could be written. Vaccinate people at the earliest? Yes. Take help from international sources? Yes. If we do not do it, the impact of it could also be written. Yes, we could do that. Just remember, if I write the impact in the end, the impact should not be mentioned in the body. If I write suggestions in the end, the suggestion should not be mentioned in the body. Whatever you write in the end should not be a part of your body. It should not be redundant. Remember that. Okay? All right. So, as I've already said, it should not be redundant. Just don't summarize what has come before. Write new data, new idea to make it more catchy. Do not make it redundant. Author lagega boring. Why do I read your conclusion? You're just repeating what you've written in the body. Don't do that. All right. If you are confused while writing the conclusion, try answering this question. A conclusion should be an answer to this question. Now, why does this whole body matter? The body that I've written of people need to be vaccinated at the earliest. Why does it matter? It matters because if we do not vaccinate people, the third wave can be harsher than the second wave. I can write something like this in the conclusion. So try answering your conclusion with this question. Why does it matter? Why does whatever I've written in the body matters? It matters because the conclusion will be your answer. So always when you're stuck, try writing this. All right. I hope you understand the conclusion now. If not vaccinated, then also take proper care from the pandemic. Yes, that can also be written, gamer, correct. Suggestions for increasing vaccination drive. Another good suggestion, Dhanshri. Yes, you can write that. Okay. So I hope you understand what a conclusion will include. Now I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I have a sample passage bot for you on one of the most common topics that we know SLAT prominently asks us. The topic is euthanasia. This passage is the intro. The second page I show you will be the body and the third page I show you will be the conclusion. I want you to read it, linking every line to the pointers I have taught you in the previous slides. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Please read the intro of an article on euthanasia. Go ahead. Guys, am I audible now? Tell me if I'm audible. Tell me if I'm audible now. Guys, am I audible now? Tell me if I'm audible. Yeah. Tell me if I'm audible now. Just a minute. All right. Okay. So, yes, now it's audible. So, let's move on to, I hope you understand what euthanasia here is and what is the intro. Let's move on to the body. Quickly read this body in 1 minute and then I'm going to move on to the conclusion. In 1 minute, quickly the body. Okay, so I think you've already read the body as well. See, understand the body now gives opinions and describes a lot of things, giving you a lot of ifs, buts, pros and cons of euthanasia. You write a description of it. So writing body is not a very difficult part. Writing intro and conclusion becomes difficult here. I hope you understand the body here. What is euthanasia? Oh, so who will tell me what is euthanasia? Euthanasia is mercy killing. ओके तो एक पर्सन है जो बहुत सफर कर रहा है द पर्सन्स body is suffering from an illness which is not curable, which can never be cured in the future. The person is in a vegetative state. If that person wants himself to be killed in active or passive manner is euthanasia. You need to read about what is active or passive. Let's move on to the conclusion. This is a very important paragraph. Read this, everyone. Understand how has he added more data to finally summarize things. Read this. Yes, gamer, you can. All right, so I hope you have read this. You see how beautifully the author has finally summarized how euthanasia is good death and what none of us knows what will happen to us. At any time, an accident or illness might force issues upon us. So we should engage them more deeply now. What is needed right now is we talk about euthanasia. It's a beautiful conclusion. Last line specifically, you understand how do you write conclusion? You summarize it with an open-ended question is absolutely okay. You summarize it with your opinion, that is also absolutely okay. You can write it either ways. So I hope you understand this is an example. Now, there are certain phrases that I'm going to share with you that by the end of this slide, I'm going to share a slide where the common topics that are important during this year's WAT. Please read those topics and understand them. But I would also like to share certain phrases that you can use to make your WAT very catchy. So if you are trying, rather than, just barely writing simple lines, if you add words like furthermore, in addition to, moreover, if you are elaborating a point, it makes it very interesting and catchy. Everyone knows the meaning of these words, but nobody remembers them while they're writing. So use words like firstly, secondly, if you're describing something, elaborating something. Moreover is a very good word that can be used. If I want to show opposition,
What is active euthanasia? What is passive euthanasia? I would use something like on the other hand, notwithstanding. Having said that, what is active? Let's see what is passive. Using these phrases make your passage very interesting. If I want to show examples, rather than writing for example, if I write specifically to illustrate, for instance, it makes my passage more interesting. If I want to show cause and effect, what was the cause? Vegetative state. Effect, people getting depressed. Consequently is a very good word that we can use. As a result of a vegetative state, the person started getting into depression. These are certain words that you can use to show cause and effect, to show sequence of events subsequently. So, Aruna Schonborg case की आप बात करोगे, you say subsequently the nurses who helped Aruna Schonborg filed a petition for Aruna Schonborg to be killed. Okay, so I can use subsequently, in the meantime, shortly after, meanwhile, thereafter. These words are very impressive if you use them to show the sequence of events in your passage. I hope you're going to use them during your passage that you write. It will make certainly a very good impression on the examiner. This is the most important part of the class now. Okay, man. All right. Now, these are the topics that I think are very, very important. I want all of you to prepare all of these topics. I have not used a lot of generic topics here. Most of them are GK oriented, law oriented topics. Please prepare them. Generic, like law career as an option, these can easily be prepared. You can find a lot of essays written on them already. But if you don't know about Article 124 capital A, that is sedition, you have to read about that. If you don't know about Article 370 and what happened in the past and what is its future, this is important. You have to read about the new IT laws. You have to talk about data privacy and the ending of end-to-end encryption in WhatsApp. That is another important part. And COVID-19 and vaccination, we have already discussed that. So make sure you read all of these topics, you prepare on them. I am done with my WAT discussion with you. You cannot get it in PDF, but you can take a screenshot of it. You can keep the screenshot with you and please practice on them. If you like the session, I want you to give me a like. I want you to share this video with every law aspirant that you know of. That's going to be of great help to me. I'm going to see you with the Hindu editorial discussion on Monday. Till then, work very, very hard and God bless all of you. Have a great weekend. Work very, very hard. Bye, everyone.